We are so excited to be here, and we realize that it's such a privilege to be here. And we wanted just to acknowledge, first of all, why we're here. It's because we love so much. And we love our kids, we love the gospel, we love our faith, and more on that later. We also feel like this is a great opportunity to really express how connected we all are and how we really need to stick together. We're all connected because of all these things. We are very appreciative of Lift in Love and all that they have done to connect us here together. It has been very meaningful to our families. Now, we also want to, right off the bat, recognize that everyone is here with a different experiences with your children, with your church, with your communities, with your families. And so we hope that what we share today is just a little slice of our own experience. We know that everybody's on a different path. And again, more on that later.
And just as a way of introduction to us, Lisa and I have been friends for a long time. This slide pretty much sums up our friendship. I am an introvert, and Lisa is an extrovert, and Lisa adopted me. And
isn't she adorable? I rescued her.
I laugh every time I see this picture because I'm like, Lisa is just like holding on to me, and I look kind of scared, like I'm trying to get away. And it's like, it's okay, I just like go with it. But Lisa has actually taught me like a really important lesson, life lesson about just throwing yourself at people with everything you have and holding on for dear life and never letting go and loving them until it hurts them a lot. And now we're done. No, I'm just kidding. And so that's, that's what we call loving out of 10. And we always say that we feel too much, and sometimes, all the time, we love too much, and we're not ashamed of it. And we really think that that's the way that we can heal the world, is by loving at a 10. And so we're going to talk more about that.
So improvisation, as you might have been tipped off to, is a big part of our lives. And we realize that not everybody is like super into it. It's our passion. I guess, some people have golf, some people have bunco. Other people, I don't know, what do other people do? What do they fish? People fish, right? That's still a thing?
Not
the
me.
dating apps have told me anything. They fish.
There's a lot of fish on the dating apps.
There's a lot of fishing going on.
Don't ask her how she knows.
But we like to make up stories and characters for each other, and sometimes we like to perform them in front of an audience. Mm-hmm. So our passion has led us through a lot of stuff. When our kids were little, we would tuck them into bed, and then we'd sneak off to the velour venue, and we would do improvisationals, musicals in different genres.
Yeah, like you do.
Like you do. And then we made the musical improv show-offs, and those movies about beehives and camping.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and if you guys don't know anything about improv, or if you do, does anyone know what the golden rule of improv is?
It's not a trick question. Yeah, see?
Yes, and very good. Okay, so in improv, yes and means that if you're in a scene with a partner, whatever they offer you, whatever they say to you, whatever they give you, you accept that offer as the best, most amazing gift that could ever be offered to you. And so, for example, say I'm doing like a scene with Lisa. We might do some improv, just go with it. So say I'm doing a scene with Lisa, and she says, go ahead.
Susan, I'm so glad that you're marrying my brother, because you are the smartest doctor/astronaut I know.
So if that's what she said, then if I'm yes-anding her, I'd say, thank you, Janice. It's so nice of you to join us on our big day for this ceremony, which we have to fit in between my big operation and my trip to Mars later. So, you see, that's how you and. You take.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That really happened. I mean, it's real. It's real. So I took her offer, as crazy it was, and accepted it and made it a part, and then added my own little bit to it. And if we take that golden rule of improv and apply it to our lives, then what if we yes-anded all of the people in our lives and all of the offers that they gave us, and who they were, you know? And for a minute, let's imagine a world where no one is ever willing to say yes and instead is constantly denying, ignoring, rejecting people's offers. And to do this, we're going to play a quick improv game called Sabotage. We never play this game.
Never play this.
Very dangerous.
Bad habit.
It's bad habits. But Lisa is going to give me some offers, and you're going to see what happens. You're going to catch on real quick.
Trina, you need to fill out these tax forms. They were due 2 weeks ago.
My name's not Trina. I'm Mary, and I'm your grandma, and we're in Tampa.
Okay, now that we're in Tampa, we need to go to the river in order to help your brother bring back the alligator.
I'm actually a monkey, and I live on the moon, and I like to eat fruit roll-ups.
That was really embarrassing, wasn't it? Nothing happened, right?
happened.
Because we sabotaged each other. The story did not continue.
Yeah. So has anyone ever experienced this in real life? Like, you just are trying to be heard and trying to be vulnerable, and people aren't receiving, they're not seeing you, they're not listening, they're just ignoring what you have to offer, and it hurts. It's not fun. And so that's why it's so important to do the opposite and really the power of yes and.
This will come to no surprise that once you're friends with me or Hailey, we're friends for life, whether you like it or not. But it extends to people that we don't like, people maybe that we don't get along with, have anything in common with, understand or disagree with. And as Christians, we feel like this is our calling. We are called to love. Sometimes in improv, we have this idea of where we want it to go. I might say, you know, when I give an offering, I might have a certain line in my head that I'm hoping that they'll say, or a direction that I hope the next scene will go. When I do that, I'm not yes-anding, because I'm taking away from my scene partner the opportunity that they have to really be real and make their own offering. And it's more of a control than it is an opportunity to create art together. In my BYU devotional, yes, and the creative art of living, and yes, I realize that I'm quoting myself, I talked a lot about improv, and no matter what happens in life, good or bad, and how you add on to it. I talk a lot about how my love of improv has helped me get through a lot of difficult times in my life. And I do want to note the difficult times in my life are not it's not having a gay son or by a non-binary child. It was the illness and death of my beloved Christopher Clark, and it's been 3 years since his death. And since then, I've had a lot of time to sort of practice this idea of love, and I've learned that not only does love never die, it does not stay stagnant, and it grows. And it grows exponentially because it's a living thing, it's a creative thing. But it is not a creative thing that we can control, but it is a creative thing that we can add to. Because really, at the heart of it, we're all here because we're parents, right? And we don't love the idea of our children, we love our children. And the better that we get to know them, the more we are able to take their offerings that they freely give to us, which is a privilege, and we have the choice to add on to them. We're here because we love our kids, but yes, we're also here because our kids have shared with us who they really are and who they want to be, and we are invited to love them better and also invite others around us to do the same, and they will follow our lead. What's great about improv and storytelling is also what's great about parenting, because there's a million ways to be a good parent, and it's easier, sure, if we follow a checklist, right? And think everyone should have the same story on the covenant path, but that's not the purpose of the gospel. So when we talk about how to love someone, we don't say, perform this list of items and hoops to jump through. That's ridiculous, but how many times do we do that subconsciously when we say, I'm going to tell you this and then you're going to do this in return. I'm going to teach you this and then you're going to perform this way. We emulate Christ. We have a broken heart and a contrite spirit. We love and we serve other people who are not only different than us, but who will make different offerings on how they emulate Christ as well. There's a million exciting ways to do that plays to our gifts, that gets to play to what we're good at, that gets to play to what our kids are good at. And that's going to be different. I like to, life never goes the way that you think it's going to go. And I always laugh because I don't know how I ever thought that it was going to go a certain way. But I remember back when my husband and I were first married, and we were getting ready to graduate, and we both decided, even though we wanted to be performers, to study English because that was more practical. So we did that, but Christopher was like, I gotta go to like a career counselor and figure out what I'm good at so that I know what I'm gonna be when I grow up. And I was like, this is great. This is gonna solve all our problems. And this was back in the 90s where like you had to use the big computer, not the little Apple Classic 2, and take like 10 hours of tests, and then you had to go back and make another appointment to see what the computer had decided you should be when, for your career. We were so excited. And I was like, today's the day. So he walks in, he's really excited, and he can see that the career counselor is visibly upset. And he's like, okay, what am I gonna study? What am I gonna be? And she's like, well, these things aren't 100%. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is gonna tell me what my aptitude is, what I'm good at. And she's like, well, you can just take this as sort of a suggestion, and you don't have to, it might put you in a path. And he was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, just sit down. And he was like, oh my gosh, just tell me what it is. And she's like, well, according to our tabulations, it looks like the number one career that you are suited for is circus performer. 100% serious, not a joke. She was not a jokester, And Chris was like, huh, for real? And if you knew my husband, yeah, it was for real. So he came home and told me, and I was like, huh. So when I talk about life gives you different offerings, and you gotta yes and through it, I'm talking about things that you never saw coming. And you're like, huh. And at first I thought maybe it was just like a joke his friends did, but it wasn't, it was real. So are you dying to know what he ended up doing? He ended up getting a master's degree in staging Shakespeare and a PhD in theater, and then becoming the theater chair of Utah Valley University. And he would come home from work and say, it's like I'm running a 3-ring circus. And I would say, congratulations, you found your calling.
I love that. He just yes-anded circus performer all the way. And he became the ringleader, really, actually. Ringmaster, is that what it is?
Master, yeah.
It's been a long time since we were in the circus.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so like in improv, no one wants to be just tolerated, put up with, reluctantly accepted, but we all want to be loved and celebrated for who we are. And let's talk about loving at a 10 again, which is the ultimate yes-anding. How do you love someone at a 10 if you're different from them? I have actually learned the most about loving at a 10 from really trying so hard to practice it on the people that have hurt my feelings, or that I'm having a really hard time with, and I have to muster all the love that I can and throw it in their direction. And it can be really painful, but it works. It really works. Can tell you stories. I won't do it here, but it is an amazing experience. And because of that, it becomes so much more important to throw all that love to our individuals, the individuals in our lives that, even though they're a little bit different than us or come from a different place, or feel more like an outsider sometimes, we need to take what we know about them and their offers and celebrate it with them. And in the spirit of that, Lisa and I asked our LGBTQ children what they loved about being a part of the
Such a broody family.
I know, okay.
They're very mysterious. Look at them.
LGBTQ community. Okay, listen, we asked them what they liked to being a part of it. So yes, it's a little dramatic, this picture, but I like drama, okay? I also did straight plays. Okay, so my daughter Mila, who's in the gingham dress, she's my oldest daughter, she's gay, and I asked her, and what's your favorite thing about being a part of the community? She said, my favorite thing about being gay is you always have a strong connection with new gay people you meet because you're like, wow, you get me. She also added, it's also awesome that when you date a woman, your closet doubles. Jealous? seriously. Gay people make the best TV, movies, and books. True. And I can be friends with all my exes. So, pretty great.
That's my family. My oldest, Miles, who's gay, he decided to dye his hair the morning of our family pictures. That's
I didn't know that.
It looks great.
It does.
Who cares? He said, I love the instant connection I have with someone in the community. I feel very understood. And as a little boy, he was very introverted and very intelligent and often isolated. And the community that he has found has just made him blossom. My second, Owen said, and I'm going to try to do it with Owen's the kid on the end in the striped shirt. They said, as a non-binary person, and I'm going to do the impression.
Okay, yeah.
I like to create a magical orb of energy on the dance floor that just welcomes everyone in.
That's how they said that.
Yeah.
And they added, but no, seriously, by being my full self, it connects me to others in deeper ways. You know, we are not asked to judge. We are asked to love and guide and teach. And there's a lot of ways to do that. And just like there's a lot of ways to perform those improvised scenes. And because we know our kids the most, I mean, we've been obsessed with them, right? For the longest. We can best love and celebrate and encourage them. And instead of control, which is boring and doesn't work, this should be our goal. I mean, isn't it interesting that our kids show us how to love and connect with others in a way that we haven't had the opportunity to, and that we might not know? And they can emulate Christ-like love in that process. And like Hailey, I could tell you a million stories. In fact, like we had to really cut down a lot to stay within the time because we wanted to give so many examples of the way, like we just love our kids and we just really want to brag about them a lot.
Just come find us afterwards.
Yeah, I got lots of stories. The way that they are able to communicate, to care, to love has been beautiful. And honestly, it has been a privilege to watch. Growing up in my home in Lincoln, Nebraska, my parents had this sign that said, "No put downs, this is a safe place." And I was really embarrassed with it at first, and my friends would come over and for study groups and stuff like that, and to hang out, and they'd be like, "What is up with this sign that's in your house, like in 3 different rooms?" And I was like, "Oh, it's for my mom and dad. It's like, don't like be mean to each other and don't swear," and, you know. And I remember having a study group. I just, got used to it. Everyone got used to it. And we had the study group one time when I was a senior in high school, and somebody new came and got a wrong answer on like a quiz we were doing or something, and swore. And everyone was like, "Dude, it's the safe place. Don't." And I didn't say anything, and I thought it was so funny. And even to this day, 30 years later, if I go back for a reunion or something, they'd be like, "Hey, so I drive by the safe place all the time. I love seeing the safe place." And they refer to it. A couple of my friends from high school have asked for that sign, not of our faith and stuff. I send it to them. It's been a bonding thing. Now I have that sign in my home, and it means something different to me and to my family. But I'm so glad that I had that sign in my house growing up, because it was no, put downs. This is a safe place. And for me, it meant everyone is welcome. And when you come into my home, you are a guest, and you will be treated absolutely well. And my kids grew up seeing that, and I hope that they will have that sign in their house, but it will mean something different to them too in there. And isn't that beautiful that an expression like that can be handed down generation to generation, but have that same legacy of love? Our kids don't just express themselves in this, in their LGBTQ identity. In a million ways they do, but by loving them, it helps us. By loving all the parts of them, it helps us to love them better. And it requires pivoting and not giving up and being like, "Well, I didn't get my way."
Speaking of that, we're going to talk a little bit about expectations, because we all have them, and it's unrealistic to think that, we aren't going to have any expectations, especially, being parents. And we don't want to say we don't expect anything of our kids, but we're just kind of want to talk about maybe let's just choose different expectations for them. This is, I love
Hailey and I like to send each other memes like this constantly.
I love this Instagram account. I can't recommend it because there's some language.
Swears, it's not a safe place.
Lisa and I love dark humor, and so I send these things to her all the time, and she said, but one of my quotes to live by is, expectations are just resentments waiting to happen. And it's true, though. We just lower that bar, just like dig a hole and put it in the ground. But I mean, it just makes everything better. But in improv, it can be so tempting. Like if you're about to go on stage, to plan out everything, you're like, I'm going to do
You be this character.
and I'm going to say this, and it's going to be so great. And then somebody messes it up, and you're like, oh no, that was not what I wanted. But that's not what it's supposed to be. That's not what improv is. That's not what life is. It lives and breathes and has a mind of its own. And thank goodness, because it would be so boring if we, like Lisa said, if we were all the same and knew everything that was going to happen all the time. And so, so when we talk about expectations, I mean, we've experienced a lot of disappointment in our lives, all of us, I'm sure. My husband stepped away from the church 8 years ago. Wasn't planning on that one. Wasn't on my bingo card. Lisa?
I talk about it a lot. My husband died.
You know some of
He
hers?
passed. He passed away. I'm a widow.
Yeah.
It's very sad. You should feel sorry for me. Passed away.
Lisa Valentine Clark.
5 kids. To raise them all on my own.
Listen, I have to be friends with a widow. It's exhausting. Please help me.
It is exhausting. I have a lot of needs.
But
it's in the
somebody
scriptures
share
that you
this
should
burden?
take care of the widows. It's in the scriptures.
I will share. Okay, thanks.
Love it at 10.
More importantly, our BYU TV show Show-Offs, aka our favorite thing in the world, has not been renewed after 4 years.
Bad for us.
So if anyone
Feel
can do something
sorry
about
for us.
that, boom, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
One joy.
We're not here to talk about us. But what we have come to realize is that being constantly disappointed because of your unrealistic expectations helps no one. So let's reframe the conversation about what disappoints us and what doesn't. For example, I'm not disappointed that my daughter is gay. I am disappointed that when she was growing up, I exposed her to every film genre there was: comedy, sci-fi, fantasy, western, musical, rom-com, all of them. The one I never showed her is the one I hate, and I still hate to this day with every fiber of my being, and it is her absolute favorite: horror. I'm very disappointed. That is not how I raised my child. So see, just shift your
And I'm not disappointed that Owen is bi non-binary. But I am disappointed that not one of their 4 tattoos says mom. Like a sailor? Not one.
It seems like that's the least you could expect. Disappointing.
I just want a quick little shout out to Gen X. We've been asked to do a lot, and we don't get any credit for it. We've had, thank you. We've had to pivot. We were the first generation to say therapy, let alone offer it to our children. We've had to, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We've had to do everything. While we hear our parents complain. Anyway, I'm not going to get down that road. But we also had to do this with social media while comparison is at an all-time high, and we've had to pivot while we're learning. Thank you very much. Little shout out to Gen X for building those bridges when we're in the middle of raising kids, establishing careers, trying to save the world. Gen X, we salute you. Thank you.
So I think we need to be gentle with ourselves. We're dealing with a lot. And we need to give people, I think this is so important, we need to give other people, permission to be happy for us. So sometimes people come up to me at church with the face. Do you guys know the face? Hi. Okay, Lisa's going to do that person. Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
Hailey, you are so brave for coming to church. Life's hard for you. I'm glad you're here.
Oh yeah, it's really hard. I am sad. Thanks for acknowledging it and reminding me of my sad life.
Yeah.
So we could do that, or we could try this.
Hailey, you've got a lot on your plate. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, well, you know what? Actually, things are going really great. Yeah, Mila's applying for medical school, and Ethan's in Japan. It's really awesome right now.
Okay. See, I'm suspicious. Not me personally, but as the lady, I got really in my character.
But see, I want to give people permission to be happy for me because I am happy about me. I'm not sad. I love my life and I love my family. And I think we just need to take that power and step into that. And I just want to say that I'm so grateful for the opportunity to gather here today as parents who love our children and who would do anything for them, and who just want to feel loved and be celebrated. And I asked Mila to send me a cute meme to help with my presentation, and this is what she sent me. And she's like, "Is this not what you wanted?" And I was like, you know what? That's exactly how I feel. That is 100% how I feel. Thank you. That's perfect. And I'm just so grateful for all of the LGBTQ individuals in my life. They have changed my life forever and taught me so many important lessons, and about love and about Christ and about how it's our mission to grow in Christ-like love.
If we're really being honest, we don't love our kids at a 10. We love them way beyond a 10. And we know that you all feel the same way, and we're privileged to be here. It's a privilege to be parents of all of our children, and we know that. And I'm so glad for the opportunity that we have to be here together, because I know that when we leave this room, that we will go out and give people more permission to love our kids way beyond a 10. Thank you.
Thank you.